What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the series where I modify my fully stock 2023 Ford Bronco. On today's episode, we're going to be installing ditch lights, which I pulled off of my old rig. In this video, we're going to be installing them on the side mirror pillars and wiring it all up. If you guys are interested in the full build, last week we installed this super cool Ice Cove fridge and fridge slide. It just comes out like this. If you guys want to learn how to install that in the back of your Bronco, check out the video link here, and I go through step by step on how to do it. But for now, let's get this Bronco in the garage and we will get started on today's modification. Alright, so now that we're in the garage, for our first step, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to remove these two torque screw bolts from the factory pillar to get started. So we're going to need a T30 for the bigger one on this side and a T25 for the smaller one. So let's get these off and then we'll move to the next step. Alright, so now that these bolts are out, what we're going to do is we're going to open the hood here, just so we can get better access to that panel. And I'll show you in a second here what we're going to do. Now that this is up, we can stick our hand under here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a screwdriver with a rig so we don't scratch anything, and we're just going to pry this panel up. That way we can sneak our wiring behind it. Alright, so I just switched the camera angle so you guys can see a little better. So this is the panel we got to lift up. Just going to get my screwdriver and put it in the crack here. Get some pressure under there, and then with my other hand I'm going to come around here and pop it up, and it should come up pretty easily. It's just on clips there. Alright, so now that that's up a little bit, we can get our wiring and shove it in behind here and then sneak it up through the lip right here. Another thing I should mention, because I did pull these off of my old rig, I already have all the wiring set up and together. So really for this build, all I need to do is attach the wiring I cut off of my old Jeep and wire it through here and attach it to the auxiliary switches in the Bronco. If you are starting off with new lights, you're going to have to take the wiring harness and wire it all correctly. That way the lights work when they should. So for these lights specifically, this is just the one color, and then this one, it's going to have a amber light on a separate switch to control just like the amber lighting system in this one pod. So because all of my wiring to the lights is already completed, all I have to do is wire these through and attach them to the power source under the hood. I'm just going to set my lights up here for now. And then like I was saying earlier, we're just going to pry this back and shove the cables underneath. Alright, so I'll just show you guys what that looks like quickly. So we got the cables shoved right behind here. They're going through underneath, and they're just coming right out of underneath this channel right through there. So now that that's all done, let's get the mount installed. As far as the bracket goes, I got this dual light setup mount. We're going to put the bigger one down here and the smaller one up top. But for right now, all we got to do is mount it back to the factory pillar on the mirror. We're just going to take our factory screws and put them back into where they were to secure it down. Another thing to note, I'm just going to hand tighten them for now. That way, when we have our extra slack, we can just pull it through easily before we mount them down fully. So now I'm just going to mount the lights onto the brackets. Again, super loose, that way we can play with the direction later on. Now that we got the general direction of our lighting, we're just going to take all the excess cable and slip it through. That way we can hide it as best as possible. I'm just going to snug these lights on now, and then once it gets dark outside tonight, what I'll do is I'll put them in the directions that I want to. We got everything connected the way I want. Everything's nice and tightened down. Before I wire these wires into the aux switches, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to install the other side, just because the lights are going to operate on the same switch, so I'm going to wire them all up together. Also, quick note, I'm just going to remove this antenna for now, just to make it easier to work around. But yeah, let's get this side installed. So now that we got all the hardware installed on the passenger side, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run the cables across the engine bay closer to the battery and the rest of the aux switches. We're gonna take the wires we ran through before and we're gonna zip tie them along the top side of the engine bay there to get them all the way over to the aux switch sides on the driver's side of the vehicle. So let's get these zip tied down and then we'll move over to that side. So super quickly, I just want to show you guys the auxiliary switches in the Bronco. So the Bronco came stock with 6 auxiliary switches up here. And today we're going to be wiring auxiliary 2 and auxiliary 6. So the main lighting is going to be going through auxiliary 2. And then the amber lighting is going to be going through auxiliary 6. The reason I'm doing 2 instead of 1 is I believe this one's higher powered. I think it's like 30, 15, 10, 10, 10, and 10. So I'm going to be saving the first auxiliary switch here for a higher powered light bar in the future. So for today, we're going to have the main power going to auxiliary 2, and then the amber strip in the smaller lights going to auxiliary 6. Under the hood here on the driver's side, you guys are going to find all the wiring right tucked away over here. So number 2, I believe, is the brown and green one. And then number 6 would be the yellow and orange. Not to be confused with the pure yellow one, that's number 1. I'll put the wiring diagram on screen for you guys now, just so you can kind of see the amperage on every single switch and the color scheme. All right, so to wire this up, I'm just gonna get my wire cutters and we're gonna start with the second auxiliary switch. We got 2 sets of cables for the driver's side and 2 sets of cables for the passenger side. So one of these sets of cables, we'll bundle them together. That'll go to auxiliary 6 for the amber lighting. And then the other set will go to auxiliary 2 for the main LED lighting. Let me get my snips, tape, and heat shrink, and we're gonna wire this all together. Another thing I wanted to mention is I think we're just gonna ground the black wire to one of these already existing grounds in the frame here. All right guys, so we got everything wired up now on the Bronco. I'll just show you guys the switches super quickly. So if we hit auxiliary 2 here, we got all the main power to the ditch lights. So all of them should be on. And then when we hit number 6, you guys will see the amber lights I was talking about. And that'll just be good for having them on with the daytime running lights. All right guys, that's it for this one. Hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave a comment down below. In the next video, we're gonna be installing a tailgate table in the back of the Bronco. So keep an eye out for that video. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.